Hi, for today's video I'll start off by showing you a couple of models and then I'll get to a couple of tips. Tamiya's Land Rover ambulance. A bit of an older kit, and I don't think it would be rated as one of their best at all. But quite an enjoyable build. I did I think I lost a part which is supposed to go in there, and I was still just going to finish it anyway. And on this one, decal damage was actually okay, and on armor and even soft skin vehicles you can get away with a lot of manhandling of your decals. Actually, on that side I did something interesting with that one. Not the big scratch, but the smaller marks. I don't know if that'll come through. I actually really enjoyed that. Just I don't commonly build soft skins, but that was a good build. I certainly would recommend that one. Let's do this one. This was, I think, the first fictitious Reno scheme that I did on a Harvard Texan. And I collected up a whole lot of decals from various places, including motorbike kits and so on. And did quite an interesting scheme there, I think. So I do have more Reno Harvards coming. Those are the Hayabusa. The big markings is off the Hayabusa, which means peregrine falcon in Japanese. And the 1/48 Rafale, which I haven't finished. There's still decals, a lot of decals actually, probably over 100, maybe more. Very delicate canards. I did oil weathering on this one. Really, really beautiful jet, possibly one of the most beautiful jets of all time. This one is quite a nice one, but this leads into the topic, one of the topics I want to speak about. This is one of the little Academy Harvards, and I used the Alclad aluminium on this. Now, I did mention the Alclad chrome. So you've got the bigger bottles, you've got the smaller bottles, and quite a variation. That one's called airframe aluminium. This is the one that I use the most, and you can see that is just about done, but still good for a few more parts of chrome. This upper section, the chrome is so good at, I mean, it's not, it collects at the top there and indicates that very good chrome color that it has. Very, very nice. Oh, what I wanted to show you about this bottle, just take note if you use these Alclads, or if you're not that familiar with them, when they stand, they do completely drop to the bottom, and they can do that in quite a short time. So all the particles of metallic just go to the bottom, and you need to shake it up for every use. Some of the bottles come with a little agitator. They all need a black base, gloss black. So for instance, prior to being sprayed in a very bright chrome color, they need to look gloss black. And then depending on the amount of spray, it's worth you practicing. If you spray lightly, you get almost what they call black chrome. and you can go over once more, and you can get, and slowly with each passing of the airbrush, you can get a brighter and brighter chrome. But you get a very bad chrome if you don't spray on a gloss black base. They do have their own blacks. This one is a black primer and microfiller, but they've got a variety of things. I don't actually use their black. I just use Humbrol Gloss Black, and that's totally fine. That's there's no problem with spraying this over a Humbrol Black. I've been doing it for ages. Just make sure your black is dry. They do also have an airbrush cleaner, and this is really just acetone. You can tell by the smell. And someone was asking if you could spray with acetone as a thinner to your paint, and no, you can't, and it says quite clearly on here this is not a thinner. And when this bottle gets finished, I'll just fetch a bit more acetone from the garage, which I use in any case for cleaning other things. Now, what happened with this aeroplane, which is worth noting, after you spray any of the Alclads, they are not resistant to damage, to quite easy damage from other things like fingerprints or touching a slight cloth which you wiped off with something, and so anyway, I damaged my coat, and it's just about, it's not repairable, but it's sort of okay. I mean, it hasn't destroyed the model. So my point was that you need to do this over some varnish. I always use this acrylic floor varnish over the chrome, but they also have this. I haven't used this one yet, so they've got their own varnishes for that as well. So that was just a bit of a tip relating to spraying. And then I wanted to get to pinning. I haven't spoke about pinning, and I don't think a lot of modelers actually do pinning of anything ever. Now, I started off with Games Workshop stuff, and when you build certain metal models, like for instance this one, I'm not saying this one was pinned, but this is an example of one of those metal Games Workshop models. Some of them have got connection points which are just about impossible to get any form of proper joint. And there's two thicknesses of brass rod. You can see that I've just about used up all of my thinner one. And I've bought various others over the years, and I've got into the habit, and I would rate this as one of the most difficult tasks in modeling. So for instance, some aircraft like this Dornier Sky Servant, which have got quite thin and long horizontal stabilizers, which might not connect very well inside. I can't remember this particular one's connection. It's been so long since I built this. But it's quite likely that I would have wanted to pin that. So I'm starting off by showing you that that's an example of something I would have wanted to pin, because there's nothing worse than you well progressed on your model and just the slightest of touches breaks that glue bond. As opposed to, for instance, this Dauntless, which I'm busy on, and this one has been pinned, and it's been pinned quite substantially, so much so that I know that that horizontal stabilizer is not going to break unless you put a heavy force on it. You won't quite be able to see the pin running through there on the inside. But so what that is I'm taking the horizontal stabilizer and I'm choosing a point which must match up with the other side, and I'm using my my hand drill, the electric one. Can't remember if mine's a Dremel or not, and you're gradually drilling a hole to the thickness of the brass that you're going to be using. This one, probably one of the thinner ones, and eventually go in enough so that when you've slotted in your two horizontal stabilizers, you've planned it and executed such that they are perfectly opposing, and you just need to ensure that they're also perfectly aligned 90 degrees, and I get very nice results with that. But I will say that drilling through thin horizontal stabilizers is a challenging task, and you do stand the risk of ruining your model if you drill out. I have drilled out a couple of times, or drilled too close to the surface, or drilled too fast and you've melted your plastic. This is another one where I pinned on both the horizontal stabilizer and the elevator, and that runs through into the other side. So I got quite a good joint on that side. I think I went a little bit short on this side, and the reason that I say that is that in the end, although I'm very happy with what I've done there, I would have wanted, that's exactly what I wanted to avoid. I don't want that. And that is the same as this, which I wanted to show on this Dauntless, same model as that one, the Hasegawa Dauntless. And that's the reason that I do this, is the mounting, as good a kit as it is, this is one of the rather annoying things on plastic kits, where you have to really pay a lot of attention to get that alignment correct. And the amount of bracing available for the horizontal stabilizer on the inside is not great. So apart from wanting to mention pinning, I also wanted to mention that one of the things I quite like is, rather than just rushing the model to get halves assembled, I might sometimes think, well, what could I do on the inside there to give more plastic surface, mounting a small piece of plastic just under that or above it, so that that tab, once it slides in, has got a lot of its surface area able to touch anything. Because I mean, it's mildly a bit of a pointless thing having a large tab which touches next to nothing on the inside. Now, of course, a lot of people build their models quite fine without doing any pinning or any problems with that. So that's just something I like doing, and it is a skill worth practicing on occasion. While I have this one here, you can also see that another thing I do on those wing fillets is I try and avoid the use of filler if possible. So there I've put in thin plastic card on this particular model because I thought it needed it, which makes for a much neater assembly than having to sand a lot with filler afterwards. You know, I already mentioned in another video that this one was an example of one of my worst filler experiences, and I still need to continue that. When I get to something like that, it really demoralizes me as far as filler goes. But when I do something like this, it makes me really happy about how I solved that one. Just in case you didn't catch on one of my other videos, the reason I've taken off elevators, rudder, ailerons, flaps is this is going to be the one of the Lake Michigan Dauntlesses, where those surfaces are all just frames devoid of any covering material, hanging loose, dilapidated and trashed. I think that's about all I wanted to speak about in this video. I will try and show you a few models each time. I've still got my 7 Mustangs waiting here for their decals. This is all Reno Mustangs. 7 Reno Mustangs, each with their own fictitious color scheme that I'm going to be doing. Now the reason that I chose those colors is because I had some very interesting decals which I want to incorporate somehow. So there'll be some wacky and wonderful color schemes coming out of that. Okay, I hope that one was worthwhile. Another one coming soon.